fam? It's your girl Katie and
Old dude.
and
Xenon.
I didn't know who you were gonna go with first.
you keep saying it first, so I was just like, let me.
I wasn't watching the fingers at the second there for a second. Try to sign. Okay, go ahead.
All right, so we are going to react to Joyner Lucas. I'm not racist.
No
My
clue.
20-year-old and myself have seen and heard it.
Yeah.
Old dude has not. So we're getting ready to surprise
So
them
I'm
with
being
this.
picked on. I want you to all put in your scribe that I was a victim. I'm victimized here.
Yes, and definitely if you're stopping by, throw a like, comment, share, and if you like the vibe, we have a lot of fun. Subscribe. I have
Yeah.
Did a whole Snoopy one too.
That we didn't record by accident.
It's okay. We'll do it again.
I feel offended.
Old dude is wearing his Snoopy shirt and everything.
It'll
Whole
be a
record.
tribute to Snoopy is what I was going to do. Tribute to Snoopy, but no. They did it on purpose. They just made sure it wasn't recording. I know. They're evil. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We are evil, but
Yeah.
we're not evil like that. We're evil like I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know what we're
let's
evil
just let's not
Leave it at that. You're
Yeah.
drowning here. You're drowning. Go ahead.
All right, you guys, we're gonna get into this. Joyner Lucas, I'm not racist.
Here we go.
Huh? Here we go, maybe.
With all due respect, I don't have pity for you black niggas. That's the way I feel. Screaming Black Lives Matter, all the black guys rather be deadbeats than pay your bills. Yelling nigga this and nigga that. Call everybody nigga and get a nigga mad. As soon as I say nigga, then everyone react and wanna swing at me and call me racist cause I ain't black. Well, pound that then. Talking about slavery like you was around back then. Like you was picking cotton off the fucking ground back then. Like you was on the plantation getting down back then. Alright, look. I see a black man aiming his gun, but I'd rather see a black man claiming his son. And I don't mean just for one day and you done. I mean, you still trapped in a rut. And I work my ass off and pay my taxes for what? So you can keep living off free government assistance, food stamps for your children, but you still tryna sell them for some weed and some liquor or a fucking babysitter while you party on the road cause you ain't got no fucking goals? You already late. You motherfuckers need to get your damn priorities straight. Wait, it's like you proud to be fake, but you lazy as fuck. And you rather sell drugs and get a job and be straight. And then you turn around and complain about the poverty rate. Fuck out of my face. You can't escape problems. You can pray for some change, but can't break a dollar. Got nobody else to blame, so you blame Donald. They fucked the world with a Make America Great condom. My voice been back. I'm not racist. My sister's boyfriend's black. I'm not racist. My sister-in-law's baby cousin Tracy got a brother and his girlfriend's black. My head's in the cloud. Heard there's not enough jobs for all the men in your house. Maybe we should build a wall to keep the Mexicans out. Or maybe we should send them all to the ghetto for now. I'm not racist. And I never lied, but I think there's a disconnect between your culture and mine. I worship the Einsteins, studied the Steve Jobs, but you ride Tupac's dick like he was a fucking god, oh my god. And all you care about is rapping and stunting and being ratchet, and that's the nigga within you. Music rot in your brain and slowly start to convince you. Then you let your kids listen and then the cycle continues. Blame it all on the menu, blame it on those drinks, blame it on everybody except for your own race. Blame it on white privileges, blame it on white kids, and just blame it on white citizens. Aim at the vice president. Bunch of class clowns. Niggas kneeling on the field, that's a flag down. How dare you try to make demands for this money? You gon' show us some respect, you gon' stand for this country, nigga. I'm not racist. I'm just prepared for this type of war. I heard Eminem's rap at the awards. Who's he fighting for? Y'all can take that motherfucker too. He ain't white no more. Just like you wanna be so famous, you'll do anything for attention and a little payment. I can't take you nowhere without people pointing fingers. Pants hanging off your ass, you ain't got no home training. Put your fucking pants up, nigga. Put that suit back on. Take that do-rag off. Take that gold out your mouth. Quit the pitiful stuff. And then maybe police and stop killing you fucks. Yo, what the fuck? I'm not racist. It's like we're living in the same building but split into 2 floors. I'm not racist. But there's 2 sides to every story. I wish that I knew yours. I wish that I knew yours. I'm not racist. I swear. With all disrespect, I don't really like you white motherfuckers, that's just where I'm at. Screaming all lives matter is a protest to my protest. What kind of shit is that? And that's one war you'll never win. The power in the word nigga is a different sin. We shouldn't say it, but we do, and that's just what it is. But that don't mean that you can say it just cause you got nigga friends. Nigga. That word was originated for you to keep us under. And when we use it, we know that's just how we greet each other. And when you use it, we know there's a double meaning under. And even if I wasn't picking cotton physically, that don't mean I'm not infected by the history. My grandmama was a slave, that shit gets to me, and you ain't got no motherfucking sympathy, you pussy nigga. I'm sorry, you can never feel my life. Tryna have faith, but I never feel alright. It's hard to elevate when this country's ran by whites, judging me by my skin color and my blackness. Tryna find a job, but ain't nobody call me back yet. Now I gotta sell drugs and put food in my cabinet. You crackers ain't slick, this is all a part of your tactics. Don't talk about no motherfucking taxes when I ain't making no dough. You think you know everything, but you don't. You wanna copy our slang and everything that we know. Try to steal black culture and make it your own. Whoa. Fuck, I'm exhausted. I can't even drive without the cops trying to start shit. I'm tired of this systematic racism bullshit. All you do is false shit, this the shit that I'm false with. And you don't know shit about my people, that's what bothers you. You don't know about no fried chicken or no barbecue. You don't know about the two-step or no loose change. You don't know about no 2 chains or no Kool-Aid. You don't know. And even though Barack was half as black, you hated President Obama, I know that's a fact. You couldn't wait to get him out and put a cracker back. And then you gave us Donald Trump and I was payback for that. I'm not racist. I never lied, but I noticed a disconnect between your culture and mine. Yeah, I praised Tupac like he was a fucking god. He was fighting for his life way before he fucking died, nigga. And all you care about is money and power and being ugly, and that's the cracking within you. Hatred all in your brain that slowly start to convince you. Then you teach it to your children until the cycle continue. Blame it on Puerto Rico, blame it on OJ, blame it on everybody except for your own race. Blame it on black niggas and blame it on black citizens. Aim at the black businesses. I ain't saying I'm innocent, but I might be any day now. Treating everybody how you want and any way how. I swear North Korea about to bomb us any day now. And now I'm ducking every time I hear a fucking plane now. Shit. You know I make a lot of sense, but you just can't admit it. When Eminem went against Trump, that was the illest. Cause even though he's white, he let us know he's standing with us. I'm not racist, but I cry a lot. You don't know what it's like to be in a frying pot. You don't know what it's like to mind your business and get stopped by the cops. And I know if you about to die or not. You worry about your life, so you take mine. I love you, but I fucking hate you at the same time. I wish we could trade shoes so we could change lives so we can understand each other more, but that'll take time. I'm not racist. It's like we living in the same building but split into both sides. I'm not racist. But there's 2 sides to every story, and now you know mine. Can't erase the scars with a bandage. I'm hoping maybe we can come to an understanding. Agree to disagree, we can have an understanding. I'm not racist.
We were all humans. Oh.
don't even try.
Okay, yeah, no.
It's fine. Okay, so I'm gonna go first because I have a lot of thoughts about this song.
He stabs a guy 23 times, and because of that, he goes to prison. And he's, I think, 19 at the time.
Edit.
Okay.
No.
Anyways, so something I just want to say first and foremost. So Joyner Lucas, for me, reminds me of Nas, which is a rapper back from the 90s, very poetic, and he takes a lot from him. Like in some of other Joyner Lucas's music, he'll rap backwards, which is something that Nas used to do. So, when he makes his music, he's what is known as a conscious rapper. It's a genre of rap where people are very, they're not really focused on, like, the music itself. It's almost more concepts or subjects. Because Joyner Lucas has plenty of other videos, talking about stuff that have happened to people, and he'll, like, narrate it, like, Rosca Piccioni or whatever, the Italian kid who got shot by that gang member.
Yeah.
And, like, he just has so much good stuff, and, like, it's the lyricism of his that, I mean, I don't want to say it's necessarily genius, but it's close. Yeah. And he's, like, the closest to the 90s in terms of Nas that I've seen in rap, like, at all. And he's just really impressive for that. Second thing I want to say, so just to air out some things here. So there is definitely a generational divide between the three of us when it comes to political views. Our analysis of the song is going to come from many different directions. He is, would you identify yourself as conservative? Yeah, like a Republican? Or like an independent-leaning Republican?
Yes.
Okay. And you identify yourself as a socialist, but I will say, she has some liberal tendencies, I'll say. But I think that's because she grew up in America with a very liberal mindset for a very long time until like the COVID pandemic. That's what's radicalized you in a different direction.
Yeah.
For me, I used to be the same as my mom, but I'm a little younger, so I kind of started earlier, I guess. I got into like Bernie Sanders and stuff like that, and I would identify myself as a democratic socialist. Not in the sense of Bernie Sanders, I go a little bit more further left than him, but I'm like close to his area. So our analyses are going to be a little bit different. I'll go first. So from my perspective, this song is supposed to show the anger and resentment, obviously, from different perspectives, right? From the white perspective, I'm actually going to look at this from mostly economics because like I'm a bit more socialistic. I feel like something that people don't understand a lot is when we talk about issues of poverty and things like that. Poverty, like crime stems from poverty, right? So like, you know, when white people are not poor white people, but more specifically like higher class, when they look down upon like the projects, Section 8 and like the inner city and things like that, it's because a lot of the time they really don't understand the pressures and factors that go into decisions that people make in those environments, because people will be like, look at the gang violence, look at Chicago, look at things like that. But it's because of the lack of wealth. And it leads people to be making really harsh decisions. Studies have shown, for example, that if you have a black name, you're less likely to get hired at a job, you're less likely to get promoted, and you're more likely in the judicial system to be given a harsher sentence for a crime, you know, the same that a white person would be. Like if both got caught with weed possession, for example, the black person would be in jail longer or get a harsher punishment in general. And so all these factors in society coming from a lot of different angles contribute to being in an environment where you have one choice that's shit and then one choice that's a little bit more shit, and it's a lesser of two evils for people in those communities, right? Another thing that we can't ignore is wealth, right? Because something people will say is, well, there's poor white people too. And that's true. Classism is another big problem as well. When people don't have wealth, they are going to be more projected towards crime. If you look at crime rates between the black and white community when they're in the poorest parts of society, they both have similar crime rates. For black people, it's still a little bit higher just to that judicial bias. And so that is something, you know, that's taken into account. And you can see that in what the white person's perspective is on the song when he's talking about like, you know, taxes and things like that and not wanting to cover people. And then from his perspective, he's trying to do what benefits him the most. But from the black perspective, considering the injustices that have been perpetuated against the black community for a long time, you know, they're not, you know, doing so economically well on average, right? The average black family has a 40th of the net worth of a white family, which is 2.5%. So when you have, you know, like such a lack of wealth, it, you know, having that redistribution or having form of the reparations or anything would be helpful in any way, shape, or form. These systems aren't perfect, but they're ways to put band-aids on a bullet wound. That's just from my perspective of the song. As far as the cultural stuff, as far as like Eminem being mentioned, Eminem for a long time has not really been like super political until definitely like 2016 in the election. But what's funny though is that a lot of black people still don't like Eminem to this day, right? Because there's a little bit of animosity there because some people feel like it might be a cultural appropriation. And so even though Eminem is like quote unquote fighting with us, Eminem's kind of fucked by both sides. Like he gets criticized by like left-wing and right-wing communities for stuff he said. So Eminem, he's not really on any particular side. I mean, he seems like more like on Joyner Lucas's side, but he's so gets a lot of criticism for words that he used to use, homophobic slurs, whatever. Personally, I don't really care that much. I don't really think he's homophobic, but that's a totally different discussion. But sorry, that was a lot from me. I'm a political person. I'm majoring in political science, so like this is my thing. But all right, you guys go ahead.
All right. I'm not sure where to even start after that, but I'm going to say.
Do you remember the video?
Yeah. Snoopy, right now. All I want to say is about anybody can twist anything to their way of thinking. If you're talking about reparations, now this is my rebuttal. We're not going to carry that thing. If you're talking about reparations go to every single human being that's on this earth. Every single person you see at color, race, creed, or religion has been slaved, and they deserve reparations. If you're going to take a certain group of people, then you're the racist. I'm saying Italians, Germans, Norwegians, every single nationality has been enslaved. Now, if you're, see, this was thrown at me. I didn't have no clue what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay. The deal with them sitting across the table, I could look you in the face and said, I was born and raised in Cleveland. I've seen both sides of the fence. I had I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, a black friend that I shared comics with. But I've also had my baseball glove stole by me by gunpoint by black people. Do I have a grudge against any of them? No. What the world wants you to do is find these things and try to make divisions. The deal with Black Lives Matter, to me, that was the most unconscionable thing to say to anybody. Anybody that bleeds red, their lives matter. I don't care what color, even if it's an alien from outer space. I don't care. If they bleed red, their lives matter. Next of all, about when you say white privileged or stuff like that, you're going to get a lot of white people to say, what privilege in the hell are you talking about? I've worked double shifts my life. I've got black people that work double shifts with me to put food, clothes on their kids. I can't tell them I sent them to college. I was able to afford it. So according to you, I'd be a bad parent because I couldn't send my kids to college. This is what's the division about. People want to divide each other because that makes for hate and discontent between the nationalities, between the races. Like we were talking about the Snoopy song. At the end of it, if we could sit down, share the cigarettes or whatever, the chocolates, you'll have to watch the other video when we actually play it and go get it. But when you say white privilege to me, you better be careful how you say that, because I don't believe there was any white privilege. I've had to effing work for every last penny that I put towards my family. And I bet you any race could get in front of this mic and say the same thing. We're all humans and we're doing our best. Spanish people, Norwegian people, black people, European people, Honduran people. I name can any country. If they have a family, they're trying to do the best for them. Simple as that.
What's your perspective?
You know me, I'm more like emotional about it. So it actually it made me sad, the perspectives of each other without knowing each other. That makes me sad. But it makes me really happy that they talk to each other at the end, because that is something that a lot of people don't do. They just assume something about the other person without knowing them at all. And
amen.
I mean, we can't do that because I mean, I agree with what you said about we all bleed red in the on a different level, I guess. I don't know how to say that, but I agree with you, but in a different way. Everybody bleeds red. You guys know me, I'm mental health. I'm emotional and all about mental health. So where my thinking goes is that mental health doesn't discriminate, and that anybody can have it, whether regardless of your class, the race, religion. Absolutely. And that if we could sit down and just talk to each other and understand different cultures, and things like that, then we would know, okay, you bleed red just like me, and I should have talked to you, before making assumptions about you.
Something I'll mention. I know what she was trying to explain, like with the all bleed red thing. So there's something called color blindness, right? That's the idea that I don't see color, I don't see race, I treat everybody the same. And that would be great if it wasn't for what happened the past 400 years in America. And this is from my perspective, right? But I think what she was trying to explain is that there's a difference between recognizing that there might be subconscious or societal factors that contribute to people being discriminated against, versus looking at someone inherently or biologically different because of the color of their skin, right? Like, when I see like a black person going down the street or something, I don't automatically assume like, like some stereotypes, right? Like, no, I look at them as just as any other human being. They bleed red, but I could acknowledge, right? I mean, it's not usually in the back of my head, but I'll acknowledge, like, they might be fucked over more by the judicial system on average. I mean, studies have shown that, right? There's factories, for example, that get built in poor neighborhoods, which tend to be black and Hispanic, and poor white people as well, and they have higher rates of asthma. In the medical field, there's been studies that have shown that black people don't get taken as seriously because they're considered hysterical, which is a similar thing that even white women used to go through as well. So these things are not directly, and this is another thing too, I feel like there's a disconnect between interpersonal racism and systemic racism. So I'll explain the difference. For interpersonal racism, if you guys don't know, it's basically the idea that, like, I say the N-word to somebody, or like I, stereotype them or whatever, right? But what I'm mostly talking about has nothing to do with that. I'm talking about systemic racism or institutional racism, right? Which means that it's in the laws, right? Like, it's in our judicial system, it's with the environment, it's with like multiple factors, like all around society, and they're very subtle things, but they all snowball together to become like this big bulldozer that's weighing on a certain group of people. And I think that's a disconnect that I notice a lot of times between different perspectives, is when we talk about racism, like on the left, I feel like we never really specified that we're not really talking about like people bullying each other for their skin color. We're talking about something that's a little bit greater, something that's systemic. And this is something I disagree a lot of liberals with, because liberals Sometimes they kind of get bogged down in the cultural details, and they do cause division. Something you mentioned earlier that I agree with is sometimes, like, especially when it comes to class, you were working double shifts with black people as well, just like a white person yourself. And actually, there was, because America used to be very unionized. There was big unions, very strong. They advocated for the workers really well. And what people did at the top is they created racial division between white and black people, and it ended up splitting the unions apart. And it was done on purpose. And this is something that I really don't like about liberals, in my opinion, from a socialist perspective, which is that they get way too focused on the cultural aspects and like interpersonal racism, and it causes division. And then we completely ignore capitalism and classism and economic factors to the discussion that affects everybody. Now, on average, Black and Hispanic communities and other communities in the U.S. that are minorities, they do tend economically to not fare well compared to white Americans, except for Asians, and that's a different exception. But for the most part, we see this trend. So economics is a really important lens to look through, which isn't really talked about in the music video that much, but I just think it's important to mention. But just to clarify some things between everybody.
Yeah. That was...
I guess if that was supposed to be a reaction video, it was.
Yes, that is what
it's very provocative, and it has a lot of shock value.
But like I said,
I know when it first started, I could feel you tense up beside me like, what?
Yeah.
The only... When they sat at the table at the end, like I said, I had comic books with black friends, and I've had the opposite with black. And that's the reason I say, as a military from the background, about the blood being red. When you work right beside somebody and their life depends on you and your life depends on them, you never see color. You see the job that's being done. And they all work their jobs. I mean, I don't know how else to say it.
No, I think that's a really good perspective. That's a perspective from a veteran. You have the perspective from the mental health thing, right, and emotions. And I'm more like very like factual and statistics and like percentages. Like I come from that angle. But I think Joyner Lucas definitely has a.
He's the debater. You haven't figured that out. He's a debater.
Yeah, I'm like the Ben Shapiro of the left, if you will.
He's the master debater.
Don't.
I'm really immature. This my fam knows this. I'm very immature, okay?
Oh no.
Anyways. Amazing song. Really good.
Yeah. Very, very good. Loved that one, and glad that I could react to it to someone who hasn't heard it before.
Yeah. Also, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. I know this video might be contentious, but you'll love it more, believe me.
When we get back to the Snoopy one, you'll see.
Yeah. He really wanted to do the Snoopy video.
Yeah,
and we just did him so dirty.
Yeah, we gotta do that one because I gotta show why he deserves an Oscar.
All right, fam. Love you guys. Take care of you.
I can never do it right, so it's gonna look like a couple of eyeballs. Whatever.
Love you guys. Peace.
Peace.